Hello everyone, Arun Vanagopal of WNYC here. It's my pleasure to introduce the Center for Traditional Music and Dances series, Beat of the Boroughs, NYC Online. This online series features over 50 of New York's leading traditional instrumentalists, dancers, singers, poets, and more. From Mongolia to Haiti, Colombia to the Gambia, among many others, they remind us how the strength of our country lies in its embrace of diversity and immigration. We want to celebrate these remarkable members of the New York community in these challenging times. So please enjoy these 50 programs, share them with your friends, and spread the word. Enjoy the show.
My name is Buhari Naibi, aka Baba Allah.
Hello, happy people. My name is Ola Kute.
On your short here, I am Alhassan Yawuza. African music and dance, let me say African cultural heritage and art evangelist. Hello, Alhassan Yawuza on your short again. The dance you're gonna see, as you've seen me wearing this, the horns, we use it normally for our war dances in the northern part of Ghana, because the horn symbolizes strength. So each and every animal in the jungle, uses their horns to fight. So the animals without horns, they always fall victim. Because you cannot fight, it's just like what is happening these days. When you're going to fight an enemy and he has weapon and you have nothing, definitely you will, return, victimized. So in the northern part, we use this for our strength, to signify how strength we are, and it's not something that is uncommon. It is common. Everybody knows that we are strong. So our customs also signify that. The horns also used to camouflage some of the wild animals. Sometimes when we do a lot of hunting, we use the costume to go and infuse ourselves with the buffaloes or the antelopes. Before they realize you are not an animal among them, you already got one. So this is how we do it sometimes. So just to camouflage the wild animals. As of now, we still have games like the wild animals in their natural reserves. In my part of Ghana, we still have them. It's a game that no one touches it. That is there, you go, you see most of the wild animals. You can go close, like, let's say, 50 meters, and you see them like the elephants, living their natural lives. So, but these days, they have been prevented from, hunting. No one game them again. They are just reserved for tourists and for studies purposes. So students can go and see and get to know, get familiar with the animals, see them live in their natural inhabitants. So we use a lot of this stuffed animals, skin and the horns, in our art, because we know how to do what, capture them, get them fast. Sometimes during our festivals, you need some kind of animal for sacrifices. You need some kind of animals to do some initiations, for some initiations. So, and some also use some kind of animals for their worshipping. So that's why we end up using a lot of those for our, and after using the meat, what is left to, you use it for your art. So in jara, normally we don't use this kind of art. We use another one. But in dance, as I said before, we have something we call neo-tradition. We have the traditional dances with the costumes, and as it has moved from the traditional area, coming into the world front. Some of the things, some people, the time is going to be compromised. Some costumes are going to be compromised, and some except the songs, but sometimes the songs too are compromised in a sense that you have to perform within a time frame. So as it is traveling from the indigenous area to, like, for example, if you have to perform jara, a whole jara, we perform whole jara for like a whole night. But when we are going to perform a state performance, they ask us to come and perform for like in the banquet, state banquet, they will give you maybe 10 minutes to perform jara. A dance that's supposed to last a whole night. Now you have to use 10 minutes to perform it. So here is the case. You cannot use the costumes that was made for like 10 years ago. You will want to beautify it to make sure it's clean, to make sure that it has a standard. It is up to a standard to be at the banquet. So this is how some of the time will compromise, and the costume too will compromise. So sometimes we look at it like holistically and see some of the things that will signify where the dance is coming from. That's why we are able to adopt the horns sometimes into the dance. But we have the original dance that the horns, but these horns are different horns. That also comes with that one. It's called lilek. And the lilek one, they also have the horns, but different animal horns. So mostly, if you don't know the horns difference, when you see that someone wear these horns in jara, and you see another horns too being performed with the lilek dance, or in the lilek festival, you will think that it's the same thing, but it's different. So this is how some of the costumes are being compromised. Some of the songs are compromised. Some of the dances, the movement are being compromised because of the state programming, because of the timing, and to bring the costume into the universal standard to fit in. So today I'm going to talk about jara itself. The jara is a dance, which has a form. It doesn't have a formula, but when they are dancing it, you would think that it is, they have like a formal way of performing it. But when we are performing it, we do not strategize it. We just go it, follow the leader, follow the leader. The name jara means fools. Because it comes by a time when the hunter went to the bush. He went to gaming. Like I said before, in our area we have a lot of natural reserves that people go for hunting, go for gaming. So this hunter went, and then he heard rhythm, shout, and some strange language, some foreign language. So he traced it, when he traced it, he still couldn't see where the songs and the rhythms are coming from. And normally the hunters in our area, they have their spiritual backups. They can vanish because they are aware that some animals are stubborn. Animal can attack you. So they have a spiritual stuff that can make them vanish. You see them within a minute when they are going to danger, then they will recite and they will get lost and go and appear at a familiar location and go home. So to the extent that they even have some kind of spiritual stuff that when they are even buried, they can even come out again. So these were some of the things that were common with hunters. So when he heard the thing, he keep on tracing because he knew that he has a backup. He traced it to the location, and then before he can now visualize what is happening, he saw the spirits to performing some activities. So he was quiet and then hid himself and observed what they were doing. And he described them like the dwarfs. The dwarfs, they were not as tall as normal human beings. They have the long beards. They have certain costumes that run below their, between their legs. The costumes that run like some kind of pillows, little pillows from left and right of their hat, and the hat was not as tall, but very flat one, like the Jewish kind of hat. But it has two pillows left and right. He described them wearing cowrie shell, which I'm going to talk a little bit after. So he described them the way their height, they were a vertical challenge, but they were men. So like little men, in fact, little elderly people. So, and he described the movement, the way they were doing the movement. They were just following each other, following the leader around a hill. And this hill was a grave. So the dwarfs were performing this dance after the burial. After the burial of one of their kings. They were shouting and crying and dancing and performing. Got to a point they were, the tone of the activity get changing. The images keep changing. You see them doing a lot of strange things. So they were following each other, dancing around. When the leader turned, then they turned. When the leader changed level, then they changed level. When the leader changed direction, they changed direction. When the leader do any action, then the rest follow. When they are tired, then they come and stand and sing upon the grave and turn. Sing and talk to each other and turn. The drummers will play and they will talk. They will call and they will respond. Then the hunter saw all these things. So he got to a point when he was scared. And then he got to a point when he was overwhelmed and then want to feel like he want to be part of them. He want to show himself. But he cannot because they are kind of, they are aliens, He doesn't understand their language, but he could feel it literally. He could feel it like what they are trying to say through the tone and the imagery, So he stood there, and then when he started to come out, because he tried to imitate them, so he come out and they saw him. So when they come, he took off, he vanished. As I said before, our hunters, because they do the hunting midnight, alone in the bush, in the jungle. So he vanished, he took off, and then appeared a strategic location, a familiar location, and then he came home. He came to the chief palace and report what he saw. So the chief played the gong, the talking drum that Baba was playing. They played because normally we use the talking drum to give announcement. That is our information van. We use the talking drum to send information across. If the chief wants people together immediately, he will let the master drummer use the talking drum to announce why we should gather. So that the master drummer will play the drum to call the whole village to come together. So after he returned, that was what happened. And they asked him to describe or demonstrate what he saw. He demonstrated it, and they requested to, follow him to the location where he saw it. They went with a number of, strong men, like spiritual inclined men. So he got accompanied, and they went, and they saw that, okay, this is the sign. They saw the footprints that were not normal, like normal human being foot, because they are aliens. So then that was what vindicated him, because you can't just come and lie to the community. So that was what vindicated him, and they returned home, and he demonstrated it, and he told to the chief that he would like, the thing was so beautiful that he wouldn't want to leave it. He would love the community to adopt it because it's a beautiful art. So the community, the chief said, okay, then, as long as you can remember the rhythm and you can remember the movement, the drummers are there, take over. So he took over and then taught it to the community, and it became part of the tradition as time goes on. So this was how the jara dance came about. So the community started dancing it, but they didn't know the name to give it. Then one of them was just there and said, what kind of dance are they doing like they are fools? They look like fools. If the leader turn, then they turn. If the leader is not doing anything, they are not doing anything. So they do like fools. Look at these fools. Then the fools means jara. Jara. It's a plural for like a fool. Because they only move when the leader moves. If they you don't have freedom. So then they say, okay, then we shall adopt that name. Jara. So that's why when we are dancing jara, you see that everybody is just following the leader. When the leader turns, then they turn. But now, rhythmically, they try to give a sign before the turning. When we are going, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the leader will give a sign. Then when you give a sign, you know that he's going to, when you do this one, you know rhythmically go to 1, 2, 3, 4. Sign. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is how it grows, it progresses musically, from variation to variation, variation to variation. So that's how the name too comes about, jara, because they didn't know how to do it, to make a name to give it until someone called, are these guys fools? Look at them, they are dancing like fools. If the leader is not doing anything, they are just there. When he moves, then he moves. So that is jara. And the costumes we use in jara is, we use the flute, a blue bow flute. This flute is from the southern part of Ghana. It's called Atim. And this one is called Calabar. Normally, we use PVC pipe to make it, but normally we used to use some part of pawpaw branch to make this. But when you use the pawpaw branch, it does not last. Then we also tend to use the sugarcane stem. Then when you use that one to cook it, then it dry and broke. Then until we discover PVC. Then we use the PVC. But we don't leave it, we coat it with the leather. we normally coat it with leather. So you will not see the PVC. You only see the leather of an animal. So this is what we use during jara. This is just a new one that I'm making. So, but the southern one at Atim is made out of bamboo stick. So in jara, this is what we use. The northern part, we use the horizontal flute, and in the southern part, we use the perpendicular flute. And then the flute too is in the normal piano keys, do to do, and then the reverse. So the costume we use in jara, you see we have the pillow. I use the pillow, we have the pillow around your waist with the cowrie, a weaved cowrie. You will see the weaved cowrie, like this is one set, this is another set, and this is another set. So this is 3 sets. Normally when we are performing in group, we will all tie this. We put it in front of we will tie it on the pillow. You will see the dance. We tie it on the pillow, and then we use the cowrie to talk. The cowrie listens to us because it understands our language. This is the weaved cowrie. So we use we command the cowrie. And in the olden days, sometimes when they are dancing, you will see the elder people, when they are dancing the jara, they do black magic. You see them charming, some even charm live babies. And then after throw the babies out, and they will vanish again. So it was pure magic dance because of the spiritual, background that it has. So, and when they are dancing the jara, they do not, like you cannot hit an ordinary person when you are dancing jara. That's why when we are dancing, we raise our foot because we are careful of the audience. When you hit when your foot hit the audience, he's going to die or she's going to die. That was how it is. So, but now, I remember when I started dancing, the guy who brought it to the city for us to learn it, his name is Sule. That's my uncle. From the group that I said they, sabotaged me and picked me from my peers. He went to the village and then went and do his spiritual stuff to make sure that he can go through some initiations to reduce the negative power of the jara, so that we can be able to dance to perform it for the people, for visitors, and other people can also get the opportunity to learn it. So he went and then do those sacrifices and then make sure that he reduce it, and he also do whatever he has to do to come and teach us, so that we can also start to perform it in the social gatherings. Because jara cannot be performed. It couldn't be performed unless at the funeral home of a king. As I said, the dwarves were performing it around a grave. So in my place, when someone dies, like a king, they have a wall, like a short wall. Every king's house has a short wall that they will push down, which is a symbol for announcing that the king passed away. They will bury the king there, just close to the wall. So when the jara people are singing and coming, they will sing and come and dance around their grave, like the way the dwarves were doing it. So if you have a house, like in this gallery, we couldn't perform jara, or jara rhythm cannot be performed anywhere. Because if the landlord is still alive and they perform jara in your house, the landlord will not see next year. He will die. So we couldn't perform jara here. The owner of the gallery would have, turned to obituary coming next year.
No.
So these were the implications that were very challenging until my uncle went and reduced it. So we were the first people to perform jara in the Tamale metropolis, the metropolitan area, we were the first people to perform jara, and then the other more mature groups started to adopt it, and gradually we brought it again to Accra. So we were part of the pioneers that makes jara common in Ghana, because we brought it from the north. Even in the north, we started it. To be sincere, but me, I was a little, I was small, but I was part of it, so I grew in it. So that's why now we are able to do what we are now to perform it on the state banquet. We can perform it and we can teach it to students, we can teach it to other people. Otherwise, jara, nobody would have known jara. And as I'm saying, we still have dances that many people don't know because of its spiritual consequences. We only perform it, or in terms of research-wise, we talk about it, but we do not perform it because we are still finding ways to do what? Reduce the spiritual consequences to bring it forth to, into the global market or global education scene, in academia, so that people know what is happening. Because back at home, the spirituality is still something that is still reserved, and it works. So that is how jara, that's the brief background of jara dance. And when you come to Accra, some people call it jara. I always tell them, listen, it's called jara. Because if you say jara, Dagbang, nobody in the language where it comes from is called Dagbang. Dagbang, you can't call jara. Jara is this one, the jaws. Jara is the jaws. So it's called jara. Jara. That's jara. The jara is the dance. So that's jara you will see later on, and then we'll take it from there. Jara too, you also use jingles. We use most of the jingles in our dances because we also have blacksmith, a lot of blacksmiths in the northern part of Ghana, and they do a lot of art. The blacksmith used to do a lot of engineering work and a lot of art. So you find their activities in very diverse ways. So we use the jingles as our metronome, in movement when we are dancing. So that's jara for you. Thank you.